And we're live. ¿Qué tal, amigos? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with this evening's live stream. It's the 16th of January, 7:35 p.m. Time to look at some of the main stories that have caught my attention in the Spanish press today, yesterday as well, because there were some interesting stories floating about. So we'll take a look at some of those. We'll look at some comments that have been left on the channel in recent times by viewers, see what the viewers are thinking with their comments in that comment section. And then we'll go into the chat section around the 17, 18, 19 minute mark of this evening's live stream and see what's happening amongst the viewers of the live stream. So if you are watching this evening, say hello in that live stream chat or subsequently in the comment section if you're watching after the live event stops. Now, we will get straight into the news and, of course, the feeling that many people have now with regards to buying a home in Spain has changed after the government's announcement the other day that they are considering a 100% tax on property purchases by non-EU residents. As we know, it's been all over the internet, all over the press. And as we can see here, the British react to Spain's plan to restrict non-EU property purchases. One of the 12 housing measures announced by Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez to address the country's housing crisis has sparked significant concern in the UK. The measure aims to prioritise housing for residents by increasing taxes on property purchases by non-EU citizens who are not Spanish residents. This tax would rise to 100% of the purchase value. The proposal has drawn criticism in the UK as British citizens are the largest group of foreign property buyers in Spain. In 2023 alone, Britons purchased 8,173 homes in the country, according to official data. The policy, which directly affects Brexit UK buyers, has raised alarm among British nationals. The announcement has prompted questions from British observers, some of whom perceived the measure as counterproductive, with comments such as, "Are you trying to shoot yourselves in the foot, Spain?" reflecting surprise and disapproval at the decision. And you only had to take a look at the British press the other day to realise that this was the case. And lots of people sharing the sentiment there that Spain will shoot itself in the foot if this tax becomes law, because those 8,000 potential British property buyers here in Spain will take their money somewhere else. And I hear Cyprus is high on the list of destinations for people skeptical about buying in Spain. Maybe Portugal, I don't know. Will this become a trend in the European Union? Who knows? Time will tell. But Mr. Sanchez's words the other day sure did stir up some commentary from especially in the UK, as we saw there. Second piece of news here, and Spain has set a new tourism record with 94 million visitors in 2024. Spain welcomed a record-breaking 94 million international tourists in 2024, a 10% increase compared to 2023. This surge in visitors contributed to an unprecedented 126 billion euros in tourist spending, representing a 16% annual growth. Ministry of Industry and Tourism Jordi Hereu highlighted Spain's strengthened leadership in global tourism, emphasizing the continued focus on both quantitative and qualitative growth. He shared these figures during a press conference alongside Secretary of State for Tourism Rosario Sánchez and Tour de España President Miguel Sanz. Hereu noted that the strong growth in arrivals and spending positions Spain as a global tourism leader and motivates further improvements in the quality of the country's tourism offerings. So that's where we are at the moment. We have the tourism sector rubbing their hands with glee because of these 94 million people that have come to the country to visit, spending that 126 billion euros there, as we saw. And then we've got the locals scratching their heads saying, why is there no housing? Are these tourists affecting my possibility of buying a house in Spain, of renting an apartment in Spain? And the government is listening to that side of the argument. But at the same time, as I said, rubbing their hands with glee because of all of this income coming into the country, which other countries don't get. 126 billion euros through tourism. So that is the dilemma that we are facing in this country at the moment. And a lot of these popular tourist destinations. We saw the other day the Canary Islands, Mallorca. Can't remember what the other one was, but I think it might have been... I've forgotten completely, maybe Malaga or somewhere like that. People are being warned against visiting those places by some influential tourist magazines. So we'll see if this problem ever gets sorted out. Don't know. Another piece of news here, and a sad piece of news, because at least 50 migrants have died as the boat they were travelling in, headed for the Canary Islands, sinks. 50 people have died after a migrant boat, or cayuco as they're called in Spain, sank on its journey from Mauritania to the Canary Islands. Among the deceased are 44 Pakistani migrants, according to the Spanish NGO Caminando Fronteras. The organization's spokesperson, Elena Maleno, reported that they were informed of the tragedy on the 15th of January when Moroccan authorities rescued 36 survivors from the boat. Preliminary information suggests the vessel departed on the 2nd of January with 86 passengers, though the actual number could be higher. The boat had been adrift for 13 days before the rescue. Among the survivors were at least 3 women, including a teenage girl. The incident highlights the continuing dangers faced by migrants undertaking perilous sea journeys to reach Europe, and also showing here that the people travelling to Europe or Spain on these boats are not African in the majority, or at least on this vessel, with apparently up to 66 Pakistanis on that boat. So the mafia is working their roots, getting people from all over the world that are desperate to get a better opportunity at life. And there we saw 44 people losing their lives with the tragedy there off the coast of the Canary Islands. So yes, this situation is not getting better, despite Mr. Sánchez, the Spanish Prime Minister's plans, or the things that he has put in place in recent times to try to stop this illegal migration. Not working, Mr. Sánchez, not working. And the final piece of news here, Andalusia is investigating 44 cases of food poisoning linked to a Córdoba tavern. The Andalusian health delegation in Córdoba is investigating 44 cases of suspected food poisoning linked to a montadito de pringá, a traditional meat sandwich consumed at a local tavern in Córdoba, which has since been closed. Authorities have conducted an inspection of the establishment and collected food samples for testing. They are also monitoring and surveying the affected individuals. Of the 44 reported cases, only 3 required medical attention. 2 individuals tested negative for pathogens in stool samples, and 1 tested negative in blood culture. However, one of these patients has since passed away, although it has not been confirmed whether their death was caused by consuming food linked to the outbreak. And if you're not familiar with the montadito de pringá, perhaps you haven't been to Andalusia, or these taverns where it is served, very, very popular in the south of Spain. This is the sandwich in question, the montadito de pringá. Not sure if that's the one from the restaurant in question or the tavern in question in Córdoba, but as I said, very, very common, this filling in a bocadillo or sandwich down there in Andalusia. Not so much here in Madrid. Don't really see the pringá unless you go to a restaurant with an Andalusian theme. But in Andalusia, thousands of people every day would be knocking off this type of montadito. And 44, as we saw there, as a result, have come down with food poisoning. And the person that died, they haven't linked it to the montadito de pringá yet. And but we'll see if that was the cause of, or part of the cause of death. Don't know. Now into the comment section we'll go. First one here from Diamonds. Spain has more property empty than you can shake a stick at. Thanks, Diamonds, for that comment there. And it is true, if you read the press here and you listen to the Statistics Institute, which puts out figures on the empty homes around Spain. We can see this article here from Shakata. Spain has more than 3 million empty homes. The problem is that they are not where people want them. And the last sentence there sums up the problem here. They're not where people want to buy. They're in parts of Spain known as rural Spain or empty Spain, parts of Spain that lack services, parts of Spain that lack hospitals and schools and things like that. And people are saying, I don't want to live there. I want to live in Madrid. I want to live in Barcelona, where the jobs are. I want to live in Malaga, where the jobs are. I want to live in Seville, where there could be some jobs. I want to live in Bilbao. I don't want to live in a little town in Galicia or a little town in Zamora or a little town in Soria where there might be empty homes, but nobody wants to live there. So thanks for the comment there, Diamonds. So you can keep shaking that stick, but you're not going to solve the housing crisis with those 3 million homes or potentially 4 million homes with other articles that I saw. Thanks for the comment. Another one here from Lipo. I predict delays, cost overruns, and mass political dissatisfaction. I wish Spaniards didn't have to pay among the highest rates of electricity in the world. Spain, like California, is cursed with incompetent political leadership. Thanks, Lipo, for that comment. Yeah, the electricity prices here in Spain, not helped by the VAT that the Spanish government puts on electricity, 21%, whereas if you go to neighbouring Portugal, I think it's only 7% if I remember correctly. So Spanish government bang with the VAT on high electricity prices already, and Spaniards, of course, smacked with that. And yes, delays, cost overruns, mass political dissatisfaction. Nothing new when it comes to building, I imagine. So we'll see. But thanks for the comment there. And yes, incompetent political leadership, which we have seen on display in recent times, given the tragedy in Valencia. And people in California are apparently seeing it as well now with the tragedy there. Another one here from Scott. I did not see tougher regulations on the Ocupa law. That is my opinion why a lot of second homeowners do not want to put their homes on the long-term rental market. Yeah, this is another issue that people constantly talk about here in Spain, the squatter situation, the Ocupa situation. Maybe if your home is sitting empty, people will move in, which has happened in the past. Nothing unusual because it can happen all around the world, but here you don't really get the legal support to get people out. And sometimes the courts will rule in favour of the people who are squatting because it might be a family in a vulnerable situation. It might be a single mother with 3 kids who doesn't have a big income and needs a roof over her head for the family. And good luck getting a judge to kick them out. But apparently the law is going to change soon. The government has announced that, or a quicker process. So we'll see if those changes do change the squatting situation. But it possibly is a reason why people don't put their homes onto the long-term rental market as well, in case the tenant stops paying, which is also an issue. Thanks, Scott, for that. Another one here from Jorge. As long as the supply of housing is not directly addressed and encouraged, streamlining the current burdensome regulations and bureaucracy to facilitate construction sites and building procedures, these measures will be a drop in the ocean, as you correctly implied. Very just publicity. Yeah, a lot of people are also thinking this, Jorge, like yourself, that it's a publicity stunt, smokescreen to take the attention away from other issues that the Spanish government, or Pedro Sánchez moreover, is dealing with, or more so is dealing with. So it is complicated, and yeah, I would agree also, as we saw in that previous comment there, streamlining current burdensome regulations and bureaucracy, which can be a problem in this country for many people. It was for us when we bought this home here, and it took a long time from when the first brick was put down or laid to when the keys were actually handed over, because there were a lot of issues that were related to bureaucracy, local council bureaucracy in particular. Foff has another comment here. Podemos has the correct solutions. Force lower the rents by 40% and make it illegal to own a home that is not your primary residency. Problem solved. Gracias, Podemos. Unfortunately, Foff, I don't know whether you've realized, but Podemos is virtually disappearing faster than the dinosaurs did back in the day, because they have lost a lot of their support base. They tried to do a deal with Sumar, didn't really work. They've since become an independent parliamentary group which votes with Mr. Sánchez on some key issues. I think they're using those 4 seats that they have in the Congress currently. They had I think 20 or maybe even more back in the day when they were at the height of their popularity. But nowadays, they're just a sad political party with ideas like that one there that no one listens to. No one listens to. So thanks for the comment. Another one here from John. We bought an apartment in Spain to spend some 10 plus weeks in it a year. I'm sure many others did the same. Nothing to do with speculation, and we are obviously spending money when there. Thanks, John. That is the case for many people from Britain or the United Kingdom that come down to Spain, buy property. They spend their 10 weeks or their 3 months a year in their apartment, putting money into the Spanish economy. And that could be an avenue that is cut off for many, many people. Pedro Sánchez thinks that everybody's just buying property here to put on the market as Airbnbs. I would say that he's wrong, but that's what he's going with, and he's the person with all the power at the moment, so it is what it is. Thanks, John, for that. Was it John? Yeah. Another one here from Jason. As long as EU citizens can still buy, this is going to make zero difference. Yep. And the final one here, que la fuerza te acompañe. Thanks for that. That was the expression that I was looking for the other day, the Star Wars expression, may the force be with you, translated into Spanish as que la fuerza te acompañe. May the force be with you. Thank you very much for pointing that out, solo traveling. Now we're going to go into the comment section in just a moment, or the chat section, sorry. Check out what is happening there. Before I get there, I'm going to change the backdrop picture, which I always do. This photo sent in by Jorgen from Denmark, who was traveling in Spain in the city of Cuenca. Took this snap of the cathedral, the Cuenca Cathedral, which is up on the hill in Cuenca. And those are outdoor seating areas there, which are very popular in the summer months. And Jorgen was also saying that he plans another trip to Spain this year to different destinations. So I'm looking forward to getting some more pictures, Jorgen. So send them through after your travels here. And if you've got a similar picture to this one that you would like to see on the backdrop, spainspeaks@gmail.com is the email address. You can send me a photo if you like. You can send me a piece of news, something that's caught your attention in the press about Spain. For example, there was an interesting one come through today. I think it was from Martin, I think, about a hotel in Mallorca, which has been taken over by squatters. So we'll keep an eye on that story. So spainspeaks@gmail.com is the email address. Feel free to send your holiday snaps through to that email address there. Like icon is going on the screen as well. If you haven't hit the like icon, currently sitting at 57. We'll see if we can get up to a decent tally of likes today. So hit that like button. Below the video, you will find it. And as I said, let's see if we can crack the 10 today. Also, like we did the other day, very high like count. The other day, lots of people interested in the content. People that have supported the channel in recent times on the super thanks option or the super chat option. Marcus was the person that sent that through. I've got the name wrong. Marcus, regular contributor and valued member of the channel. Thanks, Marcus, for that. I'll look at it on Sunday. Super thanks is an option. Buying me a coffee and Patreon. longer term supporters. And also on the YouTube here, we've got the channel membership option. New member came on board today. Ian, thank you very much, Ian, for hitting that join button. And welcome to the community. Welcome to the membership community. Thank you very much. Now, into the chat section I'm going to go. I don't think there's anything else that I have to do. Let me open it up. Scroll up to the top. Andrew, the first person that I can see here, valued member coming in from a cold and wet London southeast, hoping we are well. Thanks, Andrew. I am well. Hope everyone else is well too. Sani saying hello. Hello, Sani. John, valued member 2, hoping everyone is well. TOL coming in from San Diego, I think Al is at today. Difficult to keep tracks of Alan because he Philadelphia one day, then he's on a cruise somewhere, then he's in Spain, San Diego, gets around. Red flag warning there has been issued for Southern California. Take care. We've seen the destruction that those fires can cause. Let's hope San Diego doesn't suffer the same. Richard, valued member 2, coming in, hoping everyone is well, from North Yorkshire. Finally caught up with the channel. The language and driving videos were great. Thanks, Joe. Thanks for that. Richard, glad you enjoyed them. Brad's here. Hola, muchachos. Aquí estamos. Thanks, Brad, for that. Jacques is in the chat. Rainy and wet Johannesburg. Thanks, Jacques. Good to see you. Marco, short and sweet. Hi. Hi, Marco. Janet coming in from Oxford, valued member 2. Hi, he's in the chat here. Hola, familia. Good to see you, Heidi. Thanks for the comment there, or the chat comment. Renan coming in from sunny Los Angeles. Any update on the fires, Renan? Are they under control? Let us know. Howard coming in from a cold and wet Valencia. Good to see you, Howard. Pat's in the chat as well. Hi, Stu. I would like to see help to put elevators in. I read about a woman in Santiago who couldn't leave her apartment because the community wouldn't vote to install one. Yeah, we've had some comments or some chat action recently, Pat, about elevators or lifts in apartment buildings here. Erica, regular viewer, has had a broken lift in her block for months, it seemed. And, of course, with a dodgy ankle, she had trouble getting up and down the stairs. And it is a problem for people that live in these older type buildings, and you have neighbours on the ground floors or the first floor that don't want to pay to put the elevators in. And it's not the first time it's happened, and I'm sure it won't be the last. But, yeah, government probably needs to subsidise, I would say, something like that, because people do lose their mobility. Rustam is this, coming in from Houston, Texas. I think it won't affect the housing crisis. Looks like Sánchez wants to get local voters and does not really worry about the housing crisis solution. I probably would agree with that, Rustam there. He's only interested in getting re-elected in a few years' time, or whenever the next elections are. 2027, I think, is the maximum term that he'll be there for. And the idea, I think, is to sweeten up the voting collective that is affected by this, by promising the world. And, of course, if you take aim at the easy target, which are tourists who have no influence voting here, foreign tourists that is, then people might listen to you. What else we got going on here? Erica, just speaking about Erica, lovely weather where Erica is. Terraza, 9 degrees Celsius at lunchtime. Blue skies, wishing everyone a beautiful end of the week and start the weekend. Brad saying that is Rich, saying Spain is shooting itself in the foot. Do Brits remember the mental decision to leave the EU? Duh. Yes, that could also be taken that way, Brad. They might have already shot themselves in the foot. That is true. It wouldn't be an issue if the UK was still in the UK, of course. We wouldn't even be talking about it, I don't think. Heidi saying here, if they want to improve the property situation, the government should seize all the empty bank-owned property, and then the taxpayer paid for when they saved the banks, and not use these to offer use these to offer affordable homes. Yes, Heidi, that could be an idea. I think Podemos put that idea on the table, but the banks, difficult to convince to do that type of thing. Seize the property from the banks. Yeah, maybe in Venezuela you could do that. Maybe in Cuba you could do that, but don't know whether in Spain it's an option. And it's a bit of a mess what's happening with the Sareb, which took a lot of these toxic bank assets, and now they're being turned into these public homes, apparently for people, and everybody's paying for it, right? Paradox saying, meanwhile, Farage is laughing at these... I don't know what that's talking about there. Why Farage is being mentioned there. Not sure. Not as much of... okay, talking about British politics there. Lisa coming in from a chilly Porto in Portugal. Until Spain, says Al, changes its policy on eviction for non-payment of rent, the crisis will continue. Squatters as well, in Al's humble opinion. Thanks, Al, for that. What's Barbara saying here? Barbara's a regular member too, valued member too. Hola todos from Playa Flamenca, where it's been a cold day, bitter northeast wind. Yes, chilly days, chilly days. Belinda saying here, big proposed tax as a Spanish citizen, potential buying bonanza. Yes, I hold citizenship. Venga, vale, vamos. So Belinda might be making her real estate portfolio increase. What else? Brad saying here, so toxic montaditos sounds like poor storage. Cooked food has to be at 5 degrees Celsius. Otherwise, salmonella or E. coli can leave toxins that cause gastrointestinal conditions. Thanks, Brad. Yes, poor storage you will see in many bars and restaurants, especially some of the ones that I frequent. Food often sits on a counter with no cold storage. Don't know whether it's common all over Spain, but at local bars here I see these tortillas, these omelets sitting on top of the counter with just some type of plastic container on the top of them. The montaditos are also just under plastic, not being kept in a fridge display. Jorge saying, Spain for the Spaniards. Spain for the Spaniards. Well, tell that to all of your paisanos, Jorge, que están por todo el mundo viviendo en otros países, porque aquí las cosas no iban bien, así que los españoles han tenido que ir a vivir en otros países porque no tenían otras opciones. Y ahora España para los españoles, pues echamos a todos los que están por ahí, ¿no? Que vengan aquí. Venga ya, hombre. What else we got going on here? Let's have a look. The Jazz Shed is saying, good evening, everyone. Spain has some complicated political issues at the moment. Join the club. Everyone's got complicated political issues. It is the way it is, unfortunately. Jorge, how many British living in Spain voted for Brexit? Again, Jorge is doubling down on this. Let's go, Jorge. Let's go. What else we got going on here? Antonio. Pedro Sánchez doesn't know what to say. I don't think about what he said a few days ago. He only cares about staying in power. Sounds familiar. He is not going to fix anything. He never does. He makes trouble. Thanks for that, Antonio. Troublemaker. Pedro Sánchez. RLS saw this train coming months ago. Well, it's been on. The train's been on its way for a while. Checking in from Philadelphia is Terry. Thanks, Terry. Good to see you. Jen coming in from Valencia. Haven't been on a live stream for a while. Greetings from rainy Valencia. Thanks, Jen. Nice to have you join us again. Bob saying here, greetings from Torrevieja. Is it possible for anyone to specify what affordable is? What else we got going on here? Greetings from Shanghai, Shangyan, valued member 2. Brian's been wondering what the Spanish phrase you say at the end of your shows, hasta entonces. It means until then. Entonces, Brian is then. Entonces, entonces, entonces. Hasta entonces. Until then, or until next time. Hasta entonces. Greetings from Ben Almadina. Thanks, Chuck. Good to see you in the chat today too. Antonio's also saying hasta entonces, which means until then, which is what I just said. Thanks for that. Let's have a look. What else? Coming to the end of the chat. Tasty New Zealand pie lovers coming in from Essex in the UK. Tasty New Zealand pies lover. Is that a New Zealand or NZ pie? Is it New Zealand even? Don't know. Chuck saying here that unless they introduce a 5 to 10% deposit option for mortgage, average Spanish residents on normal Spanish salaries have no chance of buying a 100k deposit to cough up for a 400,000 property is not feasible. Yeah, that's all to do. They used to offer 100% mortgages here, Chuck, before the housing crisis. Even more if you wanted it. Sometimes you could get 120% of the value of the home. And we saw how that went. So ever since then, banks have changed the way they operate. So you've got to have a deposit, that guarantee, which is 20%, I think, at the moment. So, yeah, not easy, but, it's the same all around the place. Do you save money to buy a home, or do you spend it? That's the dilemma that a lot of young people have, spending their money. I see young people out all the time, drinking and partying, and nothing wrong with that, nothing wrong with it. But, again, if you want to buy a home, you've got to be able to save and maybe stay at home. I don't know. It's the same thing in Australia. Young people out paying $6 for a coffee, and they complain that they can't afford a mortgage. $6 for a coffee. Buy a Nescafe in a jar, boil some water, and you got a coffee? What else we got going on? Bethany, wow, love your Spanish. I'm hoping to leave the UK. We're hoping to move to Spain or Portugal. We're desperate to leave the UK. Yeah, I saw that comment there, and I got a little bit triggered, to tell you the truth. So Spain for the Spaniards. I don't like expressions like that. England for the English, or Britain for the British, Australia for the Australians. Not for me. So when I see those comments, unfortunately, I went off. What else? Let's have a look. Let's see. Brad says, I consider myself fluent until I hear your excellent Spanish. Well, yeah, I've been here for a long time, Brad, and I also had a bit of university Spanish before I came, so I don't consider myself the best foreign person speaking Spanish, but I get by. I can do anything I need to do in any situation, basically. So it's just a question of working on it and never giving up, because I remember, and I was thinking about this today when somebody was asking me the easiest way to learn Spanish, and it's just basically don't give up. Just keep on practicing and practicing. Don't worry if you make a mistake. As an English speaker, you hear people speaking bad English all the time, and you put up with it, right? When you walk into a shop in Australia to buy a pie or bread, you're dealing with somebody who doesn't speak English all that well a lot of the times, but they get their message across. You get by. So, it's just a question of putting your head down and not giving up. And unfortunately, too many people give up. Heidi also agreeing with me there. Yeah, again, just these ultra-nationalists. Anyway, we'll go on. Paradox saying here, yeah, buy a $6 Nescafe jar and you've indeed got several coffees and multiple trips to the bathroom per coffee. It's not that bad, is it? Nescafe blend. Brian says, thanks, enjoyed the 11 Spanish phrases video. Very helpful. I'll add them to my collection of flashcards. Yeah, that's a good idea, Brian. Flashcards is always an option, of course, to help you improve. And obviously, you've only been in Spain for a short time, so you've got a lot of learning ahead of you, I imagine. But it's not that difficult. It's just a question of getting your tongue into the right place to make the sounds, to understand the basic sentence structure, which is not all that different to English. It's a subject, verb, object language like English is. So it's not that difficult. It's just a question of getting the confidence to be able to speak it. What else? Chuck's saying here, you think you speak Spanish, then you arrive in Andalusia. Well, that's because of the accent, of course, Chuck. And even when I traveled around the country to places last year, for example, when I went to Jaén, Andalusia, the differences can be quite noticeable. But what else we got going on? Let's have a look. Well, let me have a look here. The question that's popped up here, he never won the elections, not even in his own party, always cheating. I think we're talking about Pedro. I think Antonio is talking about Pedro Sánchez, so that's another thing there. CL Man saying, do the towns have a registry of people looking for accommodations to match the number of properties needed? Not sure, CL. They do have a registry, of course, the Padron. Sean asking the question here, have I been to the Canaries? Excuse my ignorance, is it cheaper than the mainland? I have been to the Canaries, Sean, and I'm going back there shortly. The difference between the Canary Islands and mainland Spain, from what I saw, I was only there for a few days, so I didn't see a lot. I went into supermarkets and saw the prices there and some other things as well. When it comes to fuel prices and things like that, the Canaries are cheaper because they have a special tax system in the Canary Islands. So they pay less VAT on certain things. So in general, things would be cheaper. However, salaries in the Canaries, I imagine, are also lower than on mainland Spain, and for example, in a place like Madrid. So, it all works out. But for somebody going from a country where salaries are high to the Canary Islands, you will notice a difference. JAL saying here, not a fan of nationalist ideology, but what is happening in Spain does require drastic measures to rectify a problem, which, by the way, was the creation of the Spanish government. Well, you've just summed it up there. If the government creates a problem, they've got to fix it. No point blaming people from another part of the world that want to invest in your country. Foreign investment, as far as I know, remember, I'm not an expert on economic matters, but every country looks for foreign investment, and this is one way of getting foreign investment, is it not? Anyway, Gallego helped Heidi a lot when she visited Portugal, Coimbra, recently. Amazing town. Yes, thanks, Heidi. There are similarities between the two languages, obviously. And that's about it from the chat section there. So I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to say a goodbye. I'll be back again on Sunday. Yeah, Sunday with another live stream. Hope to see you guys then. Until Sunday, I might put out some content tomorrow and Saturday as well, depending on my work schedule. Stay tuned if it does come out. Hasta entonces, until later or until then, goodbye, adios, hasta luego, any other expression that I can think of. Until Sunday, have a fantastic start to the weekend. Great Friday. Adios. Bye-bye.